Hi, everybody. Welcome back to I Create for You. As promised, we are going to do the stories now that are related to the previous video that I put out of the walk along the canal at Five Locks in Shoemakersville, not too far from where we live. So Mark is going to read them for us, and I'm going to try to illustrate.
Alrighty, here we go. Even if there were no tales of supernatural happenings at the Five Locks of the Schuylkill Canal south of Hamburg, the locale would lend itself to spectral accounts or canal legends. A thick green muck floats as a rug atop stagnant waters within the chambers of the locks. Stepping down between a straight, lonely gravel road and a steep cliff rising on the east, the wooded area stretches westward to the Schuylkill River, and it's pockmarked with litter and household leavings cast away by unthinking mortals. The canal's once threadbare towpath is a mound of trees, barely discernible and hardly recognizable as a pathway for the barge tugging mules a century ago. The canal's lore ranges from the romantic to the ribald. Remote and lonely even today, the remnants of this once bustling waterway conjure up both history and mystery. Just a scant distance south of Five Locks, the ghost of Adeline Beaver rose from the muddy canal banks to covert near Mooresville. The haunting of Five Locks is variously attributed to several sets of circumstances, but each features as its central character a lock tender and his daughter. And while the stories rise, Dietre may be to fuel the fires of romance which blossom along the dark roadside of Five Locks, they warrant retelling. Many canal boatmen were known for their rowdy lifestyle, and canal-side mothers would bar the doors and hide the ladies when certain barge and packet crewmen would be in the area. Enter the lock tender's daughter, in story number 1. It's a variation of a familiar theme. The daughter would meet the canal boat crewman. Their occasional meetings would grow into a budding romance, a romance which would never be fulfilled. The girl's father refused to allow his daughter to see the young man who won her heart. It is likely Locktender frowned on his daughter becoming just another girl and just another port, so to speak. The father's anger became rage. He forbade his daughter to ever see the boatman again and would actually restrain the girl inside the tender's house when he knew her selling suitor was bound her way. Disconsolate, the girl plotted her final rendezvous, not with her chosen beau, but with her chosen fate. The fear of hostility toward her father and the emptiness of a stifled young love led her one dismal night to the wall of the deep canal lock chamber. If she could not be with the boy she loved, she would cast her body into the waters which brought him to her. She leapt into the lock, a non-swimmer who would struggle briefly, sink to the bottom, and rise again as a corpse, and rise again as a ghost. The second version of her tale features the lock tender and his daughter, but lacks much of the drama and romance of the first. However, the timing and nature of this story makes it equally intriguing. The simple story was related by the man who brought the long vacant lock tender's house from a state of near ruin to quaint and imaginative livability. It was Halloween, a long time ago. It was a time when All Saints' Day was a time for goblins, ghosts, and parties and revelry. The setting of the canal side a century ago obviously presented an ominous backdrop for spooky hijinks. And the playful young lady who lived in the tender's home would seize the opportunity to play good natured pranks on the youngins thereabouts. Dressed in a ghostly garb, She chased her young victims through the darkness, providing them with contrived terror, but her trick was to result in an all too real terror for the children, in an untimely death for the lock tender's daughter, covering too close to the edge of the lock chamber and encumbered with her costume, the young woman accidentally stumbled into the water. The two stories dovetail into our Phantom of Five Locks legend. The ghost there is popular fodder for conversation when conversation in northern Berks County turns to the supernatural. The vision of a young woman has been reported hovering over the water of Five Locks, and the stories have been passed on through years. One account not only mentions the visual aspect, but also a peculiar noise connected with the spirit. It's been said that on no particular schedule, the plaintive sound of splash, followed by a muffled cry for help, can be heard from the towpath. And the specter of a young girl has been seen walking along the edge of the canal bed. On a midnight walk, the girl can be seen slowly turning her sorrowful head northward and then south, perhaps keeping vigil for one more rendezvous with her true and lost love.
Well, there you have it, folks. There's two stories about this young lady. Not sure which one is definitely true, but maybe it could be a combination of both. Maybe she did have a boy that she was meeting, young man, and she also did like to play pranks on the neighborhood kids. Well, this is my interpretation. I've been told that she hovers above the water. That's how they see her, hovering above the water. The tender's house is right here, and as I showed you in the video, it's not far from where the dead end part, pardon the pun, of the canal is, and the railway up on top here. I'm going to put two links in the description below. One is from the Wandering Woodsman. He has a video also where he visited Five Locks, and he has a little bit of more history. I noticed that he has a lot more detail as to the stories. And also, I'm going to link the Pennsylvania Rambler. That is also, I believe that one's a Facebook link, and it has a story behind the whole. Somebody who went and tried to like check out the area also. The stories that I got out of Charles Adams' book, which is this one, it said in the story itself, it is October 1981 when that interview was given. So that's a pretty long time ago. And I'm sure stories change over the years, but the idea of it is what draws everyone in. I believe there is another story that we're going to do. This is going to be part 1, and then part 2 is going to be where there's another story with a different idea of what may have happened to Adeline Baver. That one more or less calls it a murder rather than an accidental drowning or her ending her life in the locks. So that's just like a totally different version, and it just goes to a whole different story. So I will include that. That'll be part 2. I'd like to hear your comments on this. I mean, this is I like the idea of being able to go and getting a video of the place first, so you have some idea in your head of what surrounded the whole story and area. And I'll see what I can do with the other ones. I mean, I know I have another one coming up after these are done. Is called Witch's Hill, and that's not too far from where we live also. So I can do the same thing, do the video preview, and go from there. And as the summer progresses, if the weather stays nice and we have the time to do it, we'll probably be venturing out a little further out of our area, but still in Berks County, and find some more spots. So, okay, well, thank you so much for following along, and I hope you guys tried to figure out an illustration for it. I had a little trouble with this one. I was a little bit staggered about what I was going to do, and then I thought, well, this is how the people saw her who say they saw her, either this way or walking along the bank. And I thought this was more fitting.
Out of the ones you've done so far, I think that one's my favorite.
Well, it's kind of simple. I mean, they say if you go there at night, you can see her. She does. I mean, at nighttime. We weren't there at nighttime, of course, but I mean, even growing up, I heard about this. But as kids, we never actually went out there and checked it out. But I've known that there were a few kids who actually did, but not in the group that I hung with. Anyway, if you liked what we did today, give us a like and subscribe if you haven't, because we got plenty more stories to go through, and share if you'd like to share it. And I just want to say thanks for all the subscribing. I'm really shocked at how many I've gotten so far, and I hope to get more. So until the next spooky movie, we'll see you in the next one. Bye bye.